What's up, y'all? Happy Monday. Beep. Beep. Yeah, it's Monday, and my phone that I play the music on is acting crazy, but it's a very old phone. So, anyway, happy Monday. I did do some vlogging. Let me get into that. First of all, let me see where that's at. Where that at though? Where that at though? So this is my dog going mad at the door. She has it out for the dogs in the neighborhood. Taco Bell is giving away $1 tacos starting today from 11 to 8. So get you $1 taco. They're gonna be cheap. This is me chilling on the couch. I had just been in my husband's man cave because he made me come down there because he didn't have any guests, but he came back. And that Sophie's just in there. This is what happened when you play your camera roll without checking to see what it is. This is my dog. My dog.
This chicken for me is the best $10.99 you can eat.
All right, third time's a charm. Here we go. It's okay.
This is my husband torturing my dog with his alligator he has down in his man cave. And she's scared of it. And my husband's little setup down there.
You're the sideline to see what they do. Gonna stay with the Chargers. Second giveaway by the Chiefs in the game's first 8:56. You can see it.
You know it's Monday because I literally just ended and restarted. But anyway, yeah, y'all. What did I do this weekend? Cleaned my house, rearranged some furniture. I don't think women ever get tired of that. And then I absolutely did nothing. My husband put his car in a car show this weekend, and I drove him there so he can drop off one of his cars, and it gave me so much anxiety. The people were driving so crazy where we had to go, and it was like, you know how when you drive and you get this feeling like somebody gonna hit you, and that's how I felt. And then when I had to pick them up, same thing. It was like psychos outside, and I told my husband I'm not driving anymore this weekend. And secondly, I just can't, the people had me just messed up. I couldn't. So he allowed me to stay in, which was so nice, when I get the feeling of overwhelmedness when I'm driving and people are just mad, and it was a lot of state fairs this weekend and carnivals, so it was a lot of traffic, but I just sometimes cannot, and I normally don't even have to drive on the weekends, but my husband drove me. Oh, I actually did take some video of me on the Demon Stairmaster. Let's see. Oh yeah, right here. So I did do that, and yes, I do have my flexi rods in my hair because I'm obsessed with flexi rod in my hair now. This is become my new hobby. So other than that, y'all, that's it. Let's get in the news. As you can see, NBC's background is the Hurricane Helene wreaked havoc on the southern United States. But we'll start off with this first story. A fire broke out at a chemical plant just east of Atlanta Sunday, prompting officials to ask residents in the area to evacuate. One glance at a Filipino social media, and you'll find a recurrent set of waves, twists, and inverted heart shapes. Okay. Tom Brady responds to criticism from Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield during a broadcast between the Buccaneers. Listen, that's what y'all gotta be used to now. Brady's gonna be critiquing you. He's an announcer. Richard Branson, the billionaire founder of the Virgin Group, has turned away his money and focus toward a very personal new project called Dyslexic U, the free online university for dyslexic thinkers. The combination of tea and salt has threatened acrimony between U.S. and Great Britain. Some committed British tea drinkers are appalled by Americans suggesting that mixing the two could improve the taste. I don't drink tea, so it don't matter to me. Chris Christopherson, the country music star and actor who starred in 1976 A Star is Born, passed away Saturday. He was 88. Vibration plates, which look like a trembling surfboard, have racked up tens of thousands of sales since April. The supposed health benefits range from weight loss to improving circulation. I think I stood on one of those like once, but not really into it. Alabama was leading 28-0 at the first quarter of Saturday's game, but was down with a little more than 2 minutes to go, and the game was ultimately decided with less than a minute on the clock. So they won. They beat Georgia. Travelers have been crowding into airports in record numbers this year, including 4 legs and leashes. Leashes, meaning dogs. Saturday Night Live kicked off its 50th season by having show veterans join its contemporary talents to present a satirical view of the election. There's Maya Rudolph playing Kamala. Them two could totally be sisters. At least 64 people have been unalived due to Hurricane Helene, which is sad. Multiple people passed away after a single-engine plane crashed Saturday afternoon in a wooded area at the Wright Brothers Memorial's First Flight National Park. A fire broke out at a chemical plant just east of Atlanta on Sunday. I think I felt like I just read that. Yes, here we go. The repetitiveness has started. Let's get into these NFL scores. Yes, I got my phone in landscape, so everything's crazy right now. Let's see what we got here. Come on, you little suckers. You know what? Screw it. Because, I'm trying to do landscape mode and I can't. So now I got to hold it. Because these people... Alright, week 4. We got Cowboys beat the Giants. The Bengals beat the Panthers. The Falcons beat the Saints 26-24. The Texans beat the Jaguars 24-20. My husband bet on that game and lost. Why would he think the Jaguars would win? The Broncos beat the Jets 10-9. The Vikings beat the Packers 31-29. The Colts beat the Steelers 27-24. The Bears beat the Rams 24-18. The Buccaneers beat the Eagles 33-16. The 49ers beat the Patriots 30-13. The Commanders beat the Cardinals 42-14. The Chiefs beat the Chargers 17-10. The Raiders beat the Browns 20-16. And the Ravens beat the Bills 35-10. I love that game because that game actually is probably going to give me my first win in fantasy. Because Josh Allen got shut all the way down, baby. And just for my best friend who's a huge Colorado fan, they did win this weekend. She's into the Deion Sanders crew. Still talking about Diddy. Of course, I mean, it's just going to be Rebel Wilson ties a knot with Argruma. I guess that's her woman's name. Jason Sudeikis tells fans they scared him, asked them to stop following him. I know that's right, Jason. Oh, that's the guy? Chris Christopherson. Anna Delvey explains remarks during Dancing with the Stars exit. Judge's advice didn't help, so I learned nothing. That girl will probably be in trouble again. Travis Kelce, Chiefs stand with their leader, wear shirts in solidarity. I don't know what that's about. Broncos Tyler Batty collapses on the sideline in the game. He was stretchered off. I don't know what happened with him, but I'm sure we'll find out soon. So Christian McCaffrey is out buying George Clooney's house. And is this why you are not playing on my fantasy football team? That's why I dropped you today, Christian McCaffrey. Simone Biles was cheering for her man on the sidelines at his game. The jacket controversy, because she did have on a Packers where he used to wear, and I was like, Simone, you're wearing Packers, and he's a bear. She got it together though. Beverly Hills Cop actor John Ashton passed away at 76. Logan Paul and Nina Agdal, future WWE superstar, has arrived. They had a baby. I'm not reading nothing about Little Pump, dumb butt. Diddy is remaining positive in jail. Can't nobody take his pride. Diddy's probably having a good time in jail. He's probably getting the red carpet treatment. And they say Taylor Swift is not the reason that Travis Kelce is getting acting roles. Donald Trump, there was a 43-foot tall statue made of him with nothing on. Some people have a lot of time on their hands. Track star Shelby Danielle passed away at 23 months after getting her master's degree. Maggie Smith, gone but not forgotten. Harry Potter fans tribute the late legend, but she was also in Six Sister Act, but y'all wouldn't remember her from Harry Potter. I've never watched Harry Potter. Carolina Panthers owner David Tepper and wife Nicole donate $3 million to hurricane relief. Johnny Depp bringing back the Captain for Kids, dresses up as Jack Sparrow, visits the hospital. That's the only way they're gonna let him get back in that ring. So this UFC fighter twerked on a girl after she won, and that's just the most annoying thing. Like, first of all, she choked her out and then freaking twerked in her face. U.S. Coast Guard, we got the rescue dog in us, saves a man and his pup from Hurricane Helene. Alright. Let's see what else we got on here, y'all. Halle Berry's showing off her armpit hair. I like to think that's gotta be fake hair for some movie she's doing. The whole thing got her playing a crackhead again. There's an ice cream truck that looks like an ambulance, but I mean, he's making it do what it do. I feel like if you're having Meg Thee Stallion got a new grill. These things look so cute, but I just can't spend that kind of money on some teeth. But they look so cute. Like, just to wear one time, it'd be nice. But just the whole process of getting your teeth molded and everything, I feel like it would be cool, but I don't know. Oh my gosh, Antonio Brown said Travis Kelce needs some black PUSSY because he's washed. Antonio Brown has he said he got CTE. Somebody said, nurse, he's out again. Y'all didn't see his haircut and mustache tailored and turned him into a state trooper. He had it and didn't know what to do with it. Somebody said he ain't lying, he lost his swag. This might be the only time I agree with AB. AB is really don't have no sense at all. Alright, y'all. I think, like, they never said why this guy collapsed during the game. I was trying to find out. Let me see if somebody said in the comments. Said he was running with the ball and got tackled, a big hit, praying for his recovery. There's Simone with her man. She finally put on the right jersey. Kim Burrell has told people to let her sing by herself. Kim is like apologizing every 3 quarters for something. This woman's ego leaves no room for the Holy Spirit or Christ to flow through her. So why is she still getting access to God's people? Our churches have to do better with discernment. Wow. I mean, that was an amen or ouch right there. It was Paris Fashion Week this weekend. You got Future. Future looked like a straight mannequin. I think it's time for him to let the locks go. This is Lucky Blue and Nora Smith. The only thing I know that they're models that got married, and she cooks food on TikTok and talks in a sultry voice. Don't know who St. John is. Don't know who Alton Mason is. Brent Fayez. Like, this is how old I am. I do know who Coleman Domingo is, and Coleman always looks sharp. Don't know who Ara Star is. I do know Normani. She's always cute. WizKid, never heard of this kid. Shay Mitchell, never heard of her, but I love this coat. You could only wear it once. Cole Sprouse, I have no clue who that dude is. J Balvin, I do know J Balvin. Beyonce's got her blonde out for her new, I guess she was shooting a commercial or something for her Sir, what is that stuff? Sir Davis. Trump calls Biden and VP mentally impaired, says Joe Biden became mentally impaired, but Kamala was born that way. Trump has no good sense. How long should you date before moving in together? I mean, me and my husband was together for a minute before we moved in together, but I had to move out of state for my job. But I would say at least 6 to 8 to 9 months. Like, anything before that, Somebody said, when I get married, however long it takes for him to marry you, I don't care how long we've been dating, stay at your house. However long you want, stop taking advice from random people online who aren't living your life. With lesbians, a U-Haul be outside in a month. How can you marry somebody you've never lived with? I moved in 9 months after we started dating, remarried 4 years later, and still married. Yeah, I think like about 6 to 9 months. I mean, if you are the religious type, which, I mean, listen, I don't know if I could survive marrying somebody without living with them first. You find out so much when you move. You just don't know how dirty and people are. Somebody said after marriage is the only answer. Going on vacation out of country for more than 5 days, that'll determine if you can live with someone. Yeah, you do need a long vacation. You need something to find out how these people live. And I wouldn't even say vacation, because mostly everybody's kind of messy on vacation, so I don't know. All right, I was trying to squeeze as much as I can out of these hot topics, but it's just kind of a slow weekend, which is kind of cool. I guess DJ Khaled crowd surfed during a big noon kickoff for the Colorado UCF football game. Child, them some strong people. Somebody said, how is that not attempted unalivement charge? Somebody said, I know that was the 5 scariest seconds for their lives. They returned him as soon as possible. They gave him back so fast. This is the type of strength I asked God for. Before he jumped, the crowd was thinking, oh no. Bro got returned immediately. The way I'll be in a neck brace the next morning. It's like, yeah, call it. I don't know what you was drinking or smoking, because if you accidentally would have kicked somebody in the face or something, it could have been dangerous. Alright, y'all. So, Lil Boosie, we always know he's very outspoken for a lot, but Marlon Wayans actually supported him. Cause he was just saying that he doesn't let his daughter bring her over her girlfriend because his daughter's a lesbian, because he doesn't want her to contaminate the household. And so Marlon Wayans kind of took up for him. He said, "You can't paint Boosie as a monster. That man is a father that provides. I believe him. His daughter and God will figure this out. It took me a second. Give their family grace of time. This is growing pain. She knows her daddy and loves her. That's all that matters. He may come around, he may not, but that's on him and her." And someone said, "Marlon, you would never say your child contaminates their siblings or even spoke ill of your child in public. You seem like a great dad who is mature yet honest, respectfully." And Marlon said, "I wouldn't have, but I understand his disposition. I will hold space for his family." I mean, you don't know how you're going to react to it. And I mean, Boosie, the only thing I disagree with him is handling family stuff publicly. I mean, everybody knows that he does have a gay daughter, but he has such a big platform. Anytime he speaks on his children, it's going to make him seem like the bad guy. All right. How do you forgive someone when you feel resentment toward them? Speak it, and command your actions to line up. Take charge, and when you think about it, forgive again. Somebody said, "I'm in the comments looking for the answer. Remind yourself of a time you were a bad guy. We've all hurt someone unintentionally or not. We're all just trying to get it right. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconnection." Amen. Because you can forgive somebody and still be like, but stay on your side of the road. Somebody said, "Give it to God." Somebody said, "By pretending they don't exist." Forgive yourself. We unfairly blame ourselves for how people hurt us when it's not our fault. People treat us how they feel about themselves, not how they feel about us. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Just keep growing and healing daily, but self-blame isn't accountability. Chloe and Halle was out in Paris with their fashions. Cute. Oh my gosh. Chloe was eating it up, honey. She was taking it, honey. Judge Mathis and his wife was at the Santa Monica Pier, him and Linda. You think she took him back? I think so. I don't think they are going to end their marriage, y'all. I think Linda might have just been mad at the old judge and he had to get him some get right. Parents, have you ever had to take drastic measures to discipline your child over school issues? What happened and how did it turn out? I've taken the router out of my house before. Like, we just won't have internet. Now, like back in that day, like you had to remove the whole router. But now you can just go in and just block devices, which I loved. Somebody said, "I found that discipline around school issues need to be a learning experience for both the child and the parent. When my son struggled with his grades, instead of taking away privileges, we worked together to find a study routine that worked." Let's see. I know people don't write long books on that. Absolutely. I grounded my kid for lying about their grades, and it turned into a real eye-opener for both of us. Now we have a better line of communication. Yeah, you do have to find out if it's something with the learning. Like, if they're just being like my son was being a class clown and just, he wasn't even trying. Like, you have to find the reason behind this. Is it because they don't understand the work, or are they trying to be like a class clown and lazy? Those are two different things. What's a simple phrase that is usually sexualized for some reason? My husband loves, if I say, like duty. If I have duty, he loves saying it's poop. Not that that's sexual, but I can't even say the word duty in front of my husband because he go crazy. Pretty much any phrase that uses the word come, I'm wet, moist, I hate that word, put it in, anything sports announcers say during NFL games. That show Gold Rush, they'd always talk about the glory hole and all that, and insert it right here, slide it in, put it in. It's hard to swallow. The word penetration, I'll get a giggle out of it nearly any group of guys. Back in the days, we used to say to say fist me as in fist bump me. Now that's a bit older. It's kind of weird in public, at least. That's what she said. People love that that's what she said. When people tell me they like big dick, I often wonder if they mean me or actual big dick. Make me. I tripped and now there's a light bulb up my butt. I need a doctor. Balls to the wall. Balls to the wall used to mean going tough. You know, I can't even say going hard, because going hard, like everything we say is sexualized. But yeah. Netflix and chill now means sex too. You really can't even say that no more. What is something you see as intimate that is not sex? Holding hands. When I remember something I said or something about me. My wife and I have a lot of private jokes and phrases that only we would understand. Cuddling, forehead kisses, deep talk somewhere outside at night. I'm actually looking forward to being outside. Like the bugs are about to die, and I just want a nice fire outside, chilling. I mean, the spiders will still be there, but we gotta make sure everything's okay. But I really want to go outside and just do that. My wife cuts my hair and it always feels intimate and comforting to me in a totally non-sexual way. Perhaps some old primate brain grooming instinct. Massages, back massages are the most intimate non-sexual thing. What's an insignificant thing that always makes you angry? When people just stand in the middle of the aisle. Oh my gosh, that does drive me mad. It drives me mad. Unexpectedly hitting my head on anything. Yes, my husband can relate to that. Those stupid little plastic tag things on clothes that they attach. Getting stuck behind people in crowded places who walk slow. Headlights these days. Man, I hate when people drive slow in the fast lane. Like, I want to put my high beams on them so bad. When I'm lazing around and someone goes out of the room, leaving the door slightly open. When I wake up an hour before my alarm goes off. Getting my pocket stuck on cupboard handles. Yeah, getting stuck on stuff is annoying. Vehicles that are loud, it immediately ruins my mood. Restaurant websites that won't let you look at a menu. Also, the restaurant doesn't put... So we had Longhorn today. And they do not put Italian dressing on anything for some reason. And I always have to like either call or something and ask them to put it in there. It's just like, I don't get it. Being called stupid when you're right. Oh, we watched the Vince McMahon thing this weekend. He said he didn't like it, but I'm like, Vince McMahon, if we had to vote between him and Trump, I would pick Vince McMahon just because Vince is about that money, baby. And yeah, it was alright. When you wipe your butt after taking a poop and it takes like 14 wipes to get it all. People who don't close their mouth when they eat. Oh yeah. And the mouth breathers. People who don't hold the door for the person behind them. People parking next to me when there's 1,000 empty spots. Also at the gym, when somebody comes on the machine right next to you, that's crazy. I'm going to read one more and then we're going to go into these story times. If I find anything good. Let me go to Am I the A-hole right quick. I'm back on them again. I was against them, but I think I'm slowly coming back. Am I the a-hole for wanting to leave my husband because he won't get a vasectomy, even though another pregnancy would take my life? All right, here goes. I'm feeling really conflicted and would love some outside perspective. My husband and I have 3 kids together, all born via C-section. It's been a lot on my body, and after a third, my doctor advised me against having another pregnancy. I just don't know why she didn't get her tubes tied. Because I got my tubes tied when I had a C-section, my second one. So that's my question right off the bat. But anyway, it's been a lot on my body. And after our third, my doctor advised me against having another pregnancy. The risks are just too high. There's a very real possibility I could pass away if I try to carry a 4th child. The doctor mentioned that I could get my tubes tied, but after doing research, I found out that it's a more invasive procedure. Not if you would have got it after your last pregnancy, ma'am. With longer recovery, yada yada. So I brought up the idea of my husband getting a vasectomy. It's a much simpler procedure, far less risky, and honestly, we're done having kids anyway. I've already been through 3 C-sections, endured the side effects of birth control, and put my body through the ringer. I've carried our children, gone through labor, and dealt with it. But here's the kicker. He flat out refuses. He says he's concerned about the pain, even though it's a quick recovery, and that he doesn't want to lose his fertility. I explained that we're not having any more kids and this isn't a fertility thing. Anyway, it's nothing wrong with him doing it. My husband got his done and I got mine done. So somebody said he doesn't see this as a final marriage. Yeah, maybe he planning on life after you, girl. Somebody said you should still get your tubes tied when he wants to know why. I mean, yeah, that's what I would think. I don't know why she just didn't get her doctor when she's had all those issues. The doctor normally will ask you if you want to get your tubes tied. Somebody said this also means you can choose to never do with him again, right? Not the a-hole. Anyway, let's get into these story times, y'all.
Put a finger down if you decided to get back on Hinge because you wanted to start dating again. You took a minute off and kind of were just like, making friends and vibing or whatever and not focusing on that. And you just decided, you know what, I'm going to get back on Hinge. You matched with someone, typically not your type, but still handsome. And I felt like he would probably look better in person, which he did. He looked awesome in person. His profile said he was 6 foot, but he wasn't 6 foot. I think it was 5'9", something like that. Okay, so you're talking on the phone. You guys are vibing out, and he suggests a date, and the date is to go on a walk at a park. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. In my mind, I'm like, okay, that's kind of corny, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Maybe he's just trying to vibe out, get my vibe before he spends or whatever. I don't fucking know. So I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, it is what it is. That ends up falling through, so he suggests to do an art gallery. And I'm like, okay, period. Like, I'm down with that, just to go see some art, talk, vibe, not anything super loud, whatever, we just catch a vibe. So I'm like, okay, nice. We get on the phone, talk some more, and he's like, oh, where do you live? I'm like, oh, I live so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, you're super close to me. You're literally like 5 minutes away from me. And I'm like, okay, period. We're close to each other. And he's like, do you drive? And I was like, no, unfortunately, I don't. I have my license and I know how to drive, but I just don't have a car. I literally work from home and do everything from home. So I'm like, I'm not, there's no use in me getting a car. I thought about getting a motorcycle, but that's still a thought. So he's like, okay, I'll come and pick you up. And I was like, okay, boom, period. Like, we love a gentleman. So I'm getting ready, whatever. He's like, I'm here. I go downstairs. He's standing outside waiting for me. So I walk up to him and I give him a hug. Like I said, obviously he's not 6 foot, but I'm like, okay, he's actually really handsome in person. Fuck it. So we walk over to his car. I promise you guys, I promise on everything I love. I'm not a materialistic ass bitch, but he pulled up in a little hoopty, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. So I walk over. I'm thinking he's gonna open up the door for me. No, he doesn't. But then as I realize, I reach to open up the door and the fucking handle doesn't work. Okay. So I'm like, okay, no biggie. It is what it is. He gets in the car, boom, opens it from that side. It is what it is. We're cool. We vibing. I get in the car. I sit down and we're driving. He gives me the aux. I put on an aux. I play him a little jam. He's like, oh, I like this song. I'm like, yeah, I like this song too. Woo, 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 woo. So we pull up to the art gallery and we notice that it's a kind of outdoors and indoors. And I noticed someone that I've matched with previously on a different app. And I was like, fuck. I'm like, thinking in my head, like overthinking it, like should I be respectful and say like, oh, I've matched with this person, so if this person comes up to me, like, he knows what it is to not make it awkward. So in my mind, I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing. So I'm like tapping him on the shoulder and I was like, oh, I'm like, I just seen someone that like I've matched with. So just a heads up, like if this person comes up to me, like, I don't want you to feel weird or anything like that, because, I don't know what's going on. And he just looks at me, gives me a side eye, whole demeanor changes. And I'm like, okay. So we get out the car, and as we're walking up, he's like, oh, if you want to, you can go and talk to him. And I was like, no, I'm not going to obviously make an extra effort to talk to this man when it's really not that serious. Like, I'm here with you and we're here to vibe. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then he starts giggling and I'm like, okay, here we go. So we walk in. Mind you, he's like not talking to me. He starts walking ahead of me, walking in front of me, goes inside, like literally leaves me. And I'm walking around just like trying to enjoy the art. But also I'm like, I'm sober, first of all. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of awkward. Like, fuck, I don't want to be like, all weird or whatever. But he leaves, walks in front of me, pretty much does his whole round before me, and then comes out and says, okay, I want to leave. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck? Like, I didn't really get to, like I walked around, but like, we didn't, there's a bar here. And he kept saying like, I don't drink. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, bro, okay, if you don't drink, then like, I mean, I get it. Like everybody's on their sober tip, whatever. So it is what it is. So as we're leaving, cause he says he wants to leave, we're leaving and he's like, we can go somewhere else. And I was like, okay, cool. He's like, are you sure you don't want to say bye to homeboy? And I'm like, really, sir? So I'm like, you know what? I can already tell that this is already going to be, it's going to be a dub because it's not giving what it's supposed to give. So we head to the second bar. We get there and it's like a pub. So it's like a huge bar. I get to the bar. I pull up. I go up to the bar because I'm like, I want to get a drink because I need a fucking drink because this person's already stressing me the fuck out. So obviously he's standing behind me. He ain't gonna buy me no drink because if he don't drink, why the fuck would he buy me a drink? Period. I guess. So then I'm ordering the drink. I turn around. This motherfucker's gone. I'm looking around like, what the fuck? So I'm like, you know what? Okay, period. Like, it is what it is. I'm just going to sip on my drink, threw back my shot, and I turn around and I see him. And I'm guessing he just did a roundabout to see who's around and who's there. So I was like, okay, I guess. So then after that, we start talking about our lives and our careers and stuff. A lot of it does not line up, like, at all. A lot of our lifestyles just do not line up. Like, what I want to do, what he wants to do, it just is different. And I was telling him about where I live and this and that and my business and stuff like that. And I felt like a little bit of an intimidation from him. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know. I just can't get this dude's vibe. So after a while, after we started talking, he's like, oh, you seem like you'd be like a cool ass homie. And I was like, okay, boom, you're setting the motherfucking tone. Period. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. But then throughout the rest of the date, I'm like getting mixed signals. Like he wants to talk and he doesn't want to talk. And like, he's asking me about my life goals and things and that. And I'm like, okay, like, do you want to fuck with me or are we just homies? So we get to this hot dog place. We end up splitting a hot dog. I buy myself another drink. So I'm like, I need to, keep this going. And I'm like, okay, maybe after this hot dog, because he was definitely giving me a vibe of like, I'm trying to wrap this up. So I'm like, okay, let's wrap it up. So we leave the hot dog place and he's like, oh, is there any other bars that you would want to go to? And I'm like, you said that you don't stay out that late and you don't drink. So I'm like, well, what is there to do? And he was like, oh, we can just go and stop somewhere else. I was like, okay, boom. Well, there's a spot that I really like to go to. It's a speakeasy. It's fun. Music is bomb. Sometimes it's a lot of people, but not too crazy. And he's like, okay, boom, let's go. We pull up. This man looks me dead in my face and said, would you care if I holler at other bitches while we're here? And I was like, you know what? My immediate response was like, no, obviously I don't give a shit. You're single. Like, you can literally do whatever the fuck you want to do. So I'm looking at him like, bro, you're a clown. So we get inside the bar, whatever, we're drinking or whatever. He's eyeing some bitch, and I'm like, okay, it is what it is. He goes to the bar, orders a drink, and I'm like, I thought you don't drink. Anyways, bullshit. So I'm over it pretty much. But I'm like, you know what? I probably could just stay here by myself. And if he wants to leave, he'll leave. And then he comes up to me. He's like, I want to go. And I was like, okay, well, he could just take me home. So he can just drop me off at home. So we get in the car and we're about to leave. And he's like, oh, where else should we go? I'm like, bro, it's getting late. You just said you don't stay out late. And he was like, oh, it's okay. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't have to go home, like, right now. And I was like, okay, whatever. And my stupid ass still continued the fucking date. So he ends up driving to the other place. And mind you, my place is, like, right in between. And we're right around the corner from my place. So I'm like, hey, like, can I stop here just to use the restroom really quick and then we can go? He's like, okay, well, if we stop to use the restroom and we get to the bar, can you Uber yourself home? And I'm like, Uber myself home? I'm like, you literally, in my mind, I was like, you literally just told me that we live close to each other. Now, all of a sudden, I was like, you know what, girl, what is happening right now? And I was like, fuck it, we can just skip the whole bathroom and just go to this place and get a drink. And then he was like, okay, cool. So he starts driving, but then it clicks in my head like, girl, what the fuck are you doing? And why are you still trying to continue this date? First of all, he didn't want to pay for anything. He doesn't obviously does not like you or find you attractive or whatever the case may be. He didn't like what you said earlier, I'm guessing. Like, girl, wrap it the fuck up. And he clearly wanted to talk to other bitches. So I just tell him, like, you know what, I want to leave. And he looks at me all confused, like, wait, why? And I'm like, cause, like, I can just tell already that this is not, like, you not feeling it, I'm not feeling it, whatever the case may be, like, we might as well just end this shit. And then he's like, wow, okay, whatever, flips a U-turn, drops me off, and I'm like, all right, bro, have a good day. Have a good night, because I'm done.
You hurt his feelings when you said you could possibly have been dating somebody else. He didn't like that, and it just went downhill. But I'm glad you came to your senses. You should have been and ended the date. It was those drinks. You shouldn't have had them.
Just relax. You've been very drunk for the last hour.
Me or you?
You.
I think her husband was right this time.
I'm not a lawyer or a New Yorker, but I read the 57-page indictment of Eric Adams because apparently I have nothing better to do. So if you've been trying to figure out why this sitting mayor has just been indicted, let me break it down for you. So this is the current sitting mayor of New York City, Eric Adams. And before becoming mayor, Eric Adams was the Brooklyn borough president. And even if you're not from New York, you more than likely know that New York has 5 boroughs. And New Yorkers won't let you forget which one they are from. A borough president basically advocates the needs of that borough to the city mayor. So Eric Adams was the Brooklyn borough president from 2014 until 2021. And the indictment says about 1 year after he was elected as Brooklyn borough president, the tea started. A little bit of context before we jump into this. In general, elected officials in the United States are not allowed to accept gifts from citizens of other countries, particularly government officials from other countries. And the reason for that is it's assumed that those foreign officials are gifting these U.S. officials to gain some kind of favor with them. Maybe get that official to provide them some information that they probably shouldn't have, or just generally get them to do things that may be in the best interest of that foreign country and not in the best interest of the United States. And it's also believed that sometimes these foreign officials will begin trying to give these gifts to people who they believe may eventually become in positions of huge power in the US, like president. So if they feel like you could eventually become president, they may start trying to develop that relationship early on in hopes that later on it could pay off in a big way. So the docs allege that in 2015, when Eric Adams was Brooklyn borough president, he took 2 official trips to Turkey, and he reported those, disclosed those, did what he was supposed to do. And while he was there, he's introduced and connected to a Turkish official, a promoter, some business folks, and he was eventually introduced to the general manager for Turkish Airlines. But after those first 2 trips, the docs allege that Eric Adams and his staff used those introductions and connections to basically ask for free or heavily discounted flights. And we're talking about business class tickets, not coach. The docs give one example of an October 2016 trip when Eric Adams and his partner took a trip to India. Adams' partner purchased 2 economy class tickets to India, and then 2 days before the flight, those economy class tickets were upgraded to business class at no additional cost. And then there's another example in the docs from July and August of 2017 when Eric Adams, a relative of his, and some of his staffers traveled to France, France, Turkey, Sri Lanka, and China on free business class tickets that should have cost around $35,000. The docs even say that Eric Adams enjoyed these travel benefits so much that even when taking a flight from Turkish Airlines would be inconvenient, he still would do it because of the discount. And the docs say that Eric Adams wasn't only getting flight benefits, he was also getting heavily discounted hotel accommodations. Like when he stayed at the St. Regis in Istanbul, that should have cost around $7,000, but he paid $600, allegedly. So in addition to the flight benefits and the hotel benefits, the docs also allege that Eric Adams got campaign donations from these Turkish officials, which again is illegal. This specifically has to do with when Eric Adams announces that he wants to run for mayor. And a little bit of context here is that there's something called straw donations. And it's basically when person A gives money to person B to donate that money to a political campaign. But they have to do it in their own name, not in person A's name where the money actually came from. This is also not allowed. But the docs allege that that's basically what happened with Eric Adams. They give an example when the Turkish promoter texts Eric Adams staffer saying, quote, "I think I can raise money for your campaign off the record." The staffer responded, "How will Eric Adams be able to declare this money? Because they know it's illegal." And then the promoter said, quote, "He won't declare it, or will make the donation through an American citizen in the US, a Turk. I'll give cash to him in Turkey, or I'll send it to an American. He will make a donation to you." The promoter says they plan to donate up to $100,000, and the Eric Adams staffer is at first hesitant, saying they don't think that Eric Adams is going to engage in this, but they're going to ask anyway. And apparently, Eric Adams said, "Let's do it," allegedly. So more of these straw donations happen. And then there's an added layer to this, which is New York's publicly funded matching funds program. So what you need to know here is that New York has a program to basically encourage political candidates to get donations from regular everyday people instead of trying to get donations from large businesses or large influential people who have a lot of money. So if you're a candidate and you opt into this program, for every $1 donated from a regular everyday person, this program will give you $8 more, which on a larger scale, for every $250 raised from a regular person, this program gives you $2,000. So Eric Adams is running for mayor and he opts into this program and he uses those straw donations as the regular everyday people donations, and he gets the program to match those illegal contributions. So in total, the docs say Eric Adams' campaign received over $10 million in public funds, more than any other citywide candidate received that year. And much of it was illegal. All right, so you kind of get the picture. He's flying for free, he's staying for free, and he's getting illegal money. So you may be wondering, did Eric Adams really know he wasn't supposed to be doing that? The answer is yes. The docs include multiple text messages that indicate that Eric Adams and his staff were well aware they were not supposed to be doing this. Like this example from March 2019, when Eric Adams was texting his staff member about taking another heavily discounted trip to Turkey with the help of the Turkish airline manager. In this text exchange, the staffer tells Eric Adams, quote, "To be on the safe side, please delete all messages you send me." And then Eric Adams responded, "Always do." Or this example from June 2021, when the staffer was trying to arrange a last-minute flight with the Turkish Airlines manager, and they had this exchange. The Adams staffer, "How much does he owe? Call me and I will make the payment." The airline manager says, "It is very expensive because it is last minute. I am working on a discount." And then the staffer says, "Okay, thank you." The airline manager says, "I'm going to charge $50. The staffer says, "No." The airline manager says, "That wouldn't work, would it?" And then the staffer says, "No, dear. $50? What? Quote a proper price." The airline manager says, "How much should I charge?" And then the staffer says, "His every step is being watched right now. $1,000 or so. Let it be somewhat real." We don't want them to say he is flying for free. At the moment, the media's attention is on Eric. And then they begin discussing the hotel for Eric Adams' stay. The staffer says, he is also asking where they can go in Turkey. Do you have a recommendation? The airline manager says, 4 Seasons. The staffer says, is it too expensive? And then the airline manager says, why does he care? He is not going to pay. His name will not be on anything either. And then the staffer says, super. Ciao. Okay, so Eric Adams has received all these gifts, got all this money, defrauded New York, and got public funding. But maybe you're asking, what about the Turks? Did they in fact get him to do things that he shouldn't have? And the docs say, Yes. The specific example given has to do with a 36-story building that was being built in New York. It's referred to as the Turkish House, and it was to serve as the headquarters of multiple Turkish diplomatic missions, including the Turkish consulate. So this building is being prepared to be opened, and the goal was for September 20th, 2021. The Turkish president would come to New York and do a formal opening of this building. The problem is the fire department hadn't yet inspected and approved that the building could be safely occupied by people. So the date is coming closer, and the Turks start reaching out to multiple New York officials and employees trying to get somebody to help them get this building open. But the New York fire prevention chief was not having it, and he warned that the building would probably fail any fire department inspection if they tried to get it done. So the Turks call up Eric Adams. They contact Eric Adams' staffer and say, now it's Eric's turn to support Turkey. And so Eric Adams begins putting pressure on the fire department commissioner. Meanwhile, a regular fire department employee sends the fire prevention chief an email saying, quote, "Chief, after reviewing the letter, I do not see any way we would be willing to accept it. They have some major issues like Central Station and fan shutdowns, which would be an automatic violation order. This document does not take any liability that we would be comfortable with. I believe it actually tells us that this building is not safe to occupy." But more conversations happen, more meetings happen, and eventually the letter that's needed to allow this building to open is produced, and the building opens on time. And 4 days after that, Eric Adams' staffer reached out to the airline manager trying to book another trip. At this point, Eric Adams has officially been elected as mayor of New York City. And the airline manager has now indicated that they want to be a part of Eric's transitional committee, sending a text that says, quote, "It would suit me well to be lead or senior advisor." 2 days after that first message, the airline manager texts again saying, quote, "Lead, please," happy face. "Otherwise, seat number 52 is empty on the way back." Yes, you're understanding that correctly. And so, as you can expect, the airline manager gets added to Eric Adams' Infrastructure, Climate, and Sustainability Transition Committee. And the corruption doesn't stop. After being elected, Eric Adams begins campaigning for re-election and basically continues replicating what he did the first time. Straw donations, travel benefits, hotel benefits, and getting the Turks to donate to his campaign. But then the FBI gets involved. On November 2nd, 2023, the FBI shows up to execute a search warrant. And while they're there, Eric Adams' staffer at one point goes to the bathroom and tries to delete the encrypted messaging applications that were being used to communicate with Eric Adams, the promoter, the Turkish official, the airline manager, everybody. And then a couple days later, the FBI have a search warrant for Eric Adams' electronic devices. But when he gives over his phone, he says it's locked. And he's recently changed the password from 4 digits to 6 digits in order to prevent any of his staff from accidentally or purposefully deleting anything. But now that he's changed it, he can't remember what it is. And so unfortunately, he can't open it. Like he told the FBI, "I'm sorry, y'all, I just forgot the passcode. Oh, well, you can't get in my phone." This is silly. So anyway, those are all the reasons that the current sitting mayor of New York City has been indicted for bribery, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, actual wire fraud, solicitation of a contribution by a foreign national, and more. He's pled not guilty, but we'll see how that goes.
Eric, you in danger, sir. You're in danger. People will never learn. You cannot delete messages, especially dealing with the FBI and stuff. They can pull that stuff all back up.
I'm going to make this quick because I just did a 12-hour shift and I'm ready to go home, take a shower, do a little studying, and then go to sleep before I have to be back at the hospital. If you have a family member that's in the hospital that can't speak for themselves, please go all day, every day until that patient is out of the hospital. There was a 36-year-old patient on my floor who every time he used the bathroom, his hemoglobin came out. Anytime he coughed, he hemoglobined. His hemoglobin hit a 0.4. Those who don't know what that means, it means the game is about to be over. So anyway, the guy wasn't my patient, but I was overhearing what was going on, so I went in there to check it out. When I went in there, the patient was crying literally like a baby. This is a grown man crying like a baby, screaming, "Please no, don't leave me, please, I'm afraid." So you know it's serious because that's a man crying like a baby. It's serious. His wife didn't care. His nurse didn't care. His tech didn't care. No one cared. So I'm like, hey, my name is Kiki. I'm here. I'm not going to leave you. He said, you got me. You got me. I said, I got your back. We're going to get this figured out. So I went to read his chart, and that's when I found out his hemoglobin hit a 0.4. And I'm like, why is this man not in ICU? I work on Med-Surg. This man is not hooked up to anything. See, on Med-Surg, that Med-Surg is for patients who really don't need help. They're just there to get observed. You get what I'm saying? But this man is not hooked up to a tele. This man is not hooked up to an IV. He's not hooked up to anything. So he's just sitting in this room. And I'm just like, why is no one doing anything? Those numbers are not good. You get what I'm saying? Like, they talking about, oh, he was able to stand up and go to the restroom by himself, but now he can't because he's dizzy. Of course he's dizzy. He has no more hemoglobin. He's circling the drain, bro. So I'm pissed at this point. So I go talk to his nurse. I said, excuse me, do you know what's going on in room 19 and whatever like that? She was like, yeah, I know what's going on and stuff like that. I said, did you read his chart and whatever? I said, don't you think that you need to call lab to redo his hemoglobin labs and whatever? And I was like, also too, do you think you need to call the doctor? Because this man needs to be in ICU. He needs a transfusion. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not a doctor, right? But I got enough common sense to know that this man needs a transfusion and that he needs to be sent to ICU. No one else seems to care, honestly. You know what the nurse said to me? She said, oh no, he's fine. He's just in pain. I'm going to give him some medicine to put him to sleep. I started crying because this man is 36 years old and no one cares enough to do their job. And I wanted to pull the wife to the side and say, excuse me, you need to transfer your husband out of here if you want to see him live another day. But if I was to do that, I would have lost my job. So you know what I did? I wrote it on a sticky note and I put it in her laptop. And guess what? Mom came the next day. No one knew mom was coming. His mom was coming. And she read that note. And when I say she went the off, and guess what? Her son got sent to ICU. They sent him to surgery. They got him a transfusion. And now he is doing better. And now he's back on my floor because I got transferred to the floor below Med-Surg and whatever like that. He's now on my floor. When he seen me, I'm not trying to cry, y'all. When he seen me, he said, are you the girl that came in the room and when I was praying to God to save my life and you stayed with me the entire time? Are you that girl? I said, yep, I'm that girl and whatever like that. He said, I want to thank you so much and whatever like that. His mom started crying and she came and hugged me. You get what I'm saying? But it's like, I be wanting to quit the medical field so bad because like I get so angry at how many nurses and how many doctors are that's so burnt out, but they don't want to quit their job when you don't realize this is not a job that you can be burnt out on. This is not a job that you can play with. This is a job that we are saving lives. You get what I'm saying? We need lives. People need to live and for society to function. Do you understand that?
Everything she's saying is 100%. And even in the ICU, like, you have to be there. You have to go every day and check on your people. Somebody has to. That's actually going to be an advocate, because family cannot always trust the medical people either, because like she said, they do get burnt out, or they just say, oh, it's no, you need to check in with your family. How are you feeling? Is this okay with you? Because a lot of times they're burnt out, and you know your family, especially if it's your parent or your child, you know, like if something's bothering them. And yeah, you have to be an advocate. You have to. There's no way that you can just leave your family member up in there and think that they gonna care. Because I mean, there are some good nurses out there, but there's a lot of bad ones and bad doctors too.
reguladores. Regulamos cualquier robo en nuestra propiedad y lo hacemos muy bien. No cualquiera tiene habilidad. Tienes que ser ágil con el hierro si sabes a lo que me refiero. Gánate tu lugar. ¡Reguladores! ¡A montar! Era una noche clara, la luna brillaba. Warren G en las calles buscaba su entrada. Unas chicas por ahí, para llamarlas después, rodando mi nube, relajando a mis pies. Llegué al este del LBC en una misión buscando a Warren G. Vi un carro lleno de chicas sonriendo pa' mí. Todas ustedes saben que con el 213 doblé a la izquierda en la 21 y Lewis. Tipos jugando a jugar, me propuse, salí de mi carro y dije, ¿qué pasa? Y me sacaron pistolas, dije, hoy me matan. Ya que las chicas miran, me voy a deslizar. Estas chicas miran tanto que se van a estrellar. Tengo mejores trucos para calentar. Veo a mi pana con unos tontos en su lugar. Me están asaltando.
Listen, it was a hit. Dun, 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 dun. That's the show for today, y'all. We'll be back tomorrow. Y'all stay blessed.